Hey everybody, it's Seltzer the Frag Dolls, and I'm here with Matt, the lead writer for Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, and he's the guy we're going to talk to about the Runaway. So I want to start at the very beginning. You had 3 champions, you had 3 heroes. It was the Mage, the Archer, and the Knight. How did you go from those 3 to the Runaway?
Well, okay, so Opulencia was feeling a little bit like a sausage party. I'm not gonna lie. So we said to ourselves, I think the game's missing a little bit of a feminine touch right now. Not only that, but we had 2 range characters. We had a melee character, but we didn't have someone who's kind of a good mix of mid-range and speed to counteract the Knight's sort of slower but more powerful approach. So the Runaway was born.
It's wonderful. I'm really glad you guys included a girl in the game, and I know there's been a lot of calls for the princesses. We talked to Rickfell. She's like, everybody wants a princess because they see a castle. Thank you guys for not making a princess. You guys actually made a kind of kick-ass bard kind of character, so tell me about what she is really intended to be in the scope of Opulencia.
The most boring thing in the world, I think, is, like, oh my god, it's like a girl character. She's so weak. And so we wanted to have a character that was physically very, very powerful, that had a very strong melee attack, that was really able to get into the battlefield and kick some serious ass. Her influences, all the characters in the game are built on sort of at least nods to modern influences. So she is the rock and roll girl, right? The Runaway reference to Joan Jett and the Runaways, if you're familiar with Little Rock history. A lot of her powers are based on the notions of music and rhythm, and otherwise she's just a very energetic character that can kind of be all over the battlefield in a blink of an eye. Super powerful attacks, kind of overly energetic, and a character that's super fun to play, actually.
She's got a very unique look, a very unique approach to battle. What kind of incarnations existed of the Runaway before you settled on the current character?
There was sort of an older version of the character that had more flowy robe kind of action going on. For multiple reasons, I just wasn't working with the character as her personality kind of came together more so. And also just from a technical standpoint, for the type of attacks that she was doing, it was cooler for her to have something that was more, kind of felt a little more powerful, and something as light and ethereal as this robe action that we had at first. So those 2 things came together to pretty early on actually sort of come to define the character that we have today.
And like you said, she's got a very different mid-range style attack, not long-range, not up close. How does her character design you were talking a little bit about it, you didn't put her in the flowy robes. What else about her character design really indicates her role?
Well, first and foremost, it's the weapon that she's wielding, right? The axe. We love puns in the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot world.
Do you now? Is that true?
Have you noticed? Yeah, no. It's hard to pick up on. It's a lot of subtext.
Very subtle.
I know. Yeah, it's super subtle. So her axe, her main rockin' tool there. It all kind of flows from that, right? That's sort of the first thing that you see when you look at the character, or maybe the second thing you see. I don't know, depending. And then all of her powers flow out from there. She's got the spinorama move. She's got the moves that let her use her instrument more in a musical sense. She's got, so it's kind of a cool combination of a weapon that's both musical and just physically super powerful also. So those 2 things combine to make the gameplay that we know from her.
So one of the things I noticed about the Runaway is that she deals the most damage out of all the heroes you have so far, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm glad that you made the girl the most ass-kicking character. But I want to know, how does she really stack up attack-wise, defense-wise against those other guys?
So you have the Archer character who's long range. He's pretty easy to pick up and play. You have the Mage character who's a little bit more complicated in the sense he does a lot of damage but is physically weak. You have the Knight character who's also sort of on the melee side, a bit of an accessible character. And then you have the Runaway, which is, I'd say, at the similar level of challenge as the Mage. A little bit harder to get in and master and pick up right away, but has a lot of depth to the way that she plays. Very, very physically powerful, can take a lot of damage in a hurry, but has powers that let her kind of counteract that fact. So
how did she get those powers? How did she become the Runaway?
The power of Imagineering. Yeah. I don't know.
She just became the Runaway. She appeared.
We have talented designers who took the theme of her personality, of her style, of her being, and then created a lot of fun powers that would be fun for her to use, but also be different enough from the other characters.
And has she inspired any other changes to go back and look at the game and make anything else different?
I'd say that it was more that there was an area of the game that called for a character like her, and she's come in and supported that role really well. So fits in greatly.
We are so happy to see her, and I'm proud of you guys for writing in a strong female character. So any shout-outs you want to make? Anything else you want to let the people know about the Runaway?
She is probably my favorite character to play, has a lot of my favorite lines also, so if you're a fan of listening to people say words, Runaway, good character to play.
Hit that taunt button, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.